Hello everyone, I am Mug and welcome back to the Satisfactory Report. Big news and a new guest this week, so let's dive in. Last week we got this short flora and fauna teaser. We saw this rhino alien again, and you can see his lion tail now. And in the background you can see what we've been calling the manta ray / glider. The green bird, I'm pretty sure he is new with the split beak. This is the flower alien from the reveal trailer, and in the background once again you can see that manta ray going by. Other than the pretty view, that's everything from that video, and this week Jace put out a vlog finally giving us some details on the alpha. He said that the first stage of the alpha will hit within 2 months, and that they'll give us a concrete date within 1 month. That is huge news. So the alpha should be released by mid-November. The alpha is going to be staged, so the first stage of the alpha will be heavily focused on the early game. The whole map will be accessible, but only the starting area is going to be fully polished and properly playable. For now, the late game tech is going to be locked, so you'll only have access to early to mid game stuff. This is so they can keep the feedback focused, and so that they still have some secrets to show off later. That wraps up this week's news, so please make welcome fellow detail scavenger, seePyou.
Hello everybody, nice to be here.
So this week we've had those 2 videos.
Yes, actually the alpha was rather exciting, as we did get time for it.
Yeah, rough time.
Rough is better than nothing.
Yeah, it is, and to be honest I was beginning to think it would be very late in the year that we would get it, and especially with one of their programmers taking a hospital visit.
Yep, and another person who shall not be named who keeps on delaying the alpha.
Yeah. But are they the same person? I mean, you certainly had theories on that in your last video.
I do. I think he slipped. He showed his colors.
I think it's a bit of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation.
Who's who though?
Maybe Jace is the evil one, and Simon's delaying it for good reasons. But yeah, so, they've said that the alpha should be with us within 2 months.
And I don't intend to hold them to it exactly. I mean, it's nice to be told it's going to be 2 months. If it's going to be 3, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's nice to know that they are getting there, though.
Yeah, it sounds like they've had a bit of a change of thought on it and have decided they don't want it to all be perfect. They just want to get it out there from what Jace was saying. But obviously they want to get a few things more ready to go.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, of course. And so they've said they want to actually tell us the date within 1 month.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, so that is definitely exciting times, because I think everyone's been holding their breath for this sort of news.
Who wasn't? I am. I really want to get into the alpha, and I really also don't expect any special treatment for any of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, who doesn't want to be in the alpha? I think the Coffee Stain have a massive pool of people ready to go in and do all the alphaing for them.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you look at the Satisfactory Discord alone, currently online there are 4,800. So there's definitely a big pool to select from, just from interested community members.
Of course. And you have to be interested to be in there. I think we are rather large, considering the fact that as soon as the latest Coffee Stain video came out, it had 1,900 views.
Really? I didn't actually check the view numbers on it.
Right now they're 2,700.
Wow, that is fast views.
Extremely fast views. We are so hungry for information.
Which is where we come in. But on the subject of the alpha, I suppose you kind of brought it up briefly there. There is the question people have been asking about how they're going to select who's in the alpha. I think normally it would be mostly a random selection from people on the mailing list for something like this.
If not completely random. I fully expect that the alpha application will also be about give us a DXDAG, for example, so that we can see what kind of systems you have, so that we can have a broader understanding of how the game behaves in alpha. So there should be some selection based on that, on what computer each of us have.
Well, I imagine they'll get that just by sheer force of numbers, so they'll get enough people that they will get a range of hardware.
Probably.
Because they didn't collect any data on that as far as I can tell.
No, not yet. I do expect, though, that there will be another page coming up, another web page or something, a form to fill out.
Alright, tell us a bit more, yeah, maybe.
Give us your time zone, and give us your DXDAG, basically. I don't think you can do an alpha without having at least planned for a specific range of computer systems.
Yeah,
you need to have that to have good information.
That is true.
If they leave it to chance, they might get it, they might not.
They've said that it's going to be staged, which I guess makes sense, so there'll be updates to it that'll bring in later and later content by the sounds of it. It sounds as if they've actually largely developed the late game stuff, like the game is completable, they've said multiple times, but they're not going to include that in the alpha.
No. And I think that's wise.
Yeah.
They have their own QA department, they have play tested the game to completion, but now they're actually opening it up. They're opening it up to the wild, if you like. Even if it is a controlled wild, it is still people's computers that they have no idea how anybody has set them up. So start slow, start from scratch, start from the basic spawning point, as Jay said. And that brings me to another thing I want to question about.
Yeah.
He did have a very specific wording about a spawning point. So it looks like we will have multiple spawning points?
Right, I didn't catch that. Was that in the alpha video?
Yeah.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing on like one starting area of the game.
That's interesting. I mean, people have theorized that the game's going to start with you crash landing. It would be interesting if you could choose one of a few landing sites.
Maybe, or you have prospected the planet and your company has, and then you give an option, go there, go there, go there.
That would be kind of cool. So you start off with a choice of what you want to focus the beginning of your game on.
Yeah, I don't know how much water that theory holds, because the map is 5x5, so...
But I think in terms of the game, that is still a big map.
It should be, yeah. I mean, it is big. It is bigger than GTA's latest games.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say, having played older GTA games like San Andreas, and at the time that felt huge and amazing.
Exactly.
But when I played GTA 5, I got this feeling like I was in a small box, despite the fact that it was much bigger than San Andreas that felt big.
It's in the design. I think that's the thing that matters, because the other games felt like they were more busy and more well designed. I also had the same feeling in Division. I think the Division is one of the best designed cities and environments. I'm not commenting gameplay, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just saying, when I'm in Division, I feel I'm in the town. It feels massive, much bigger than it is.
I get the feeling that the Satisfactory devs are going to focus on that quite well, because they've made a big deal about how this map is handcrafted.
Yep.
I think that this is going to be a very carefully considered map, and the fact that they're only saying that the starting area is properly done makes me feel as if the other areas aren't at a very high level of design yet, and that's what they're aiming for.
Exactly.
So I think they are going to make the most of every inch of their map.
Exactly. They are very, very meticulous about what they're designing, and since they don't want us to go, he specifically said, we are testing the initial stage. If you go outside, you can, but be aware that things may go wrong. So they have actually spent a lot of time designing the areas themselves, which is very, very promising.
And it's interesting that this implies that they have made this giant map already.
Yep.
And yet they still have work to do. So they definitely got high standards for this map.
That can only speak well for the game, and I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. One thing that I'm sure some people will be a bit disappointed to hear is that the alpha, at least this first stage of the alpha, isn't going to have late game tech in it.
Yeah. I was not sure how to take this until I realized we don't even know the scope of that. How late is late? I mean, are we talking, for example, hundreds, tens of sciences, 90? Are we talking hundreds of technologies to find?
In terms of game length, we know that the game has taken Simon, I think it was 130 hours-ish to complete. So certainly we know the late game is a long way off, so I think we're likely to still have a lot to play with.
130 hours is massive.
That is a long time. I mean, games very seldom have that amount of playtime in them these days.
Especially for this genre even. How many shots games do you know that offer 130 hours?
Yeah,
Keep in mind that
unusual.
Factorio achievement exists that says you get a gold completion if you finish the game in 8 hours. So it is possible for a layman, we're not talking about speedrunners here, but a layman should be possible to finish Factorio from start to finish, from nothing, in 8 hours.
Okay.
And Satisfactory says 130? That's massive. It could be that 130 hours is at a slow pace, at I'm taking my time.
Reasonably, I think we have to accept that that is going to be a very slow pace, because he'll have been poking things for testing purposes as he's gone. You know, he won't have been rushing it. He'll have been exploring every bit of the game, I'm sure.
Probably that's true.
It's interesting to hear that, because from what we've seen so far, it feels like, compared to Factorio, it's so hard not to keep comparing it to Factorio.
It is.
It feels like a trimmed down version. It's got a limited number of buildings. I think you already said, and it was 20-something buildings in the game?
I don't remember exactly the number of buildings in Factorio, if we are doing the comparison, but I don't feel they're much more than that.
Okay.
I really do not.
I suppose Factorio is mostly just stacking assemblers, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You can get a lot out of that. And how many types of assembler are there in Factorio? Is it 3 or 4?
3.
3.
Level 1, level 2, the grey, the blue, and the yellow.
We know that Satisfactory does have 3 different crafting buildings. We know we've got the constructor, which takes 1 ingredient. We've got the assembler that takes 2. And then there's the manufacturer, which we haven't seen, but they have mentioned. That can craft top-tier items from up to 4 ingredients.
Okay. That's a page out of Factorio, I think.
Yeah, there's space for complexity there.
We'll see. I don't think that 20 or 30 buildings is gonna be detrimental to the complexity of the game.
No, I don't think so.
One thing I like, though, that's far less complex, is that we don't have inserters. That I like.
I do as well. So instead, they've gone more down the route of you having to split things off yourself.
Yep.
Obviously, last month we did see that video on the splitters.
The splitters look cool, but I don't know exactly if the super constructor is gonna take in 4 items, 4 ingredients. Is it going to have slots for 4 corridors to come in?
I think it will. Looking at the assembler, which is the mid-tier crafting, that does have 2 different input slots. So I would take from that the manufacturer will have 4 separate slots. So I think it's going to be a big building. There actually is one building in the original reveal trailer that I thought might be it.
Yes, they do have big ones there. By the same token, in most of the videos they have put out, all the items on their belts are mixed. So I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you mixing pro products on the belts? I hate that. Fix your belts.
Yeah, I feel like they did that just to hurt the brain of Factorio players.
Oh god. So that's I think all we can do about the alpha. The other interesting video about the fauna and the flora. Do we see any flora actually? If we discount the grass and the trees, I mean, the video does have 3 predominant subject in it. Are they all animal, or is one of them a plant?
You mean the kind of crab alien thing that crouches? Yeah, it certainly looks plant-like. I think I was calling it a flower alien on the wiki, because it does look like a plant. But aren't those legs?
Are they legs, or are they stalks?
To me, it looks like an animal pretending to be a plant. But it could well be a plant pretending to be an animal. Pretending to be a plant.
Yeah, it's an alien world. You never know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, we certainly haven't seen it move in any of the trailers. You are right, though. I can't see any feet on it. They're all kind of behind leaves. So it could well actually be a plant embedded in the ground.
Maybe. But the second is definitely a bird. Yeah. A bird which I think is also blind and uses echolocation.
Ooh, that's an interesting theory.
Yeah, I think it's pretending to be a flower to everything else that goes to touch it, because it has those weird stalks coming out of its mouth.
Yeah, and it's opened up like leaves.
Yep. And then as soon as something comes, that sound it makes tells it something is close by, and then it closes its beak.
Every creature we've seen is almost like a hybrid between 2 real creatures. So like the rhino thing at the start, we now see it's got a lion tail.
Yeah.
We've got the huge flying things in the background that look like flying manta rays or something. So they're sort of a cross between a sea creature and a sky creature.
And they don't flap, so how do they maintain the flight?
It does actually flap.
Very, very slowly. That classifies as gliding, not flying.
Yeah, it's somewhere between, isn't it? The bird thing it catches, I wonder if it's meant to be like an insect that comes down to feed on the pollen or something that it thinks is in this bird's mouth, because it looks like
that's my guess.
You know, the inside of a flower.
Yep,
yeah,
that's
so
my
it comes
guess.
Down and gets snapped up. So it's like a carnivorous plant bird.
Yeah, pretending to be a plant, exactly.
That's pretty cool, but you're right, it does look like it has no eyes. There were some people debating on the Discord when this video came out, the glider in the background of the shot with the rhino, but then you see, I think it's the same creature again in the scene with the crouching flower.
It is, I think it is.
And you can see it quite clearly flapping there, by the way.
But still, much too slowly to support its own weight.
Sure, but we've only seen it from a distance. It could be really thin as a piece of cloth or something.
Maybe.
It's hard to tell, but I mean, obviously it looks otherworldly and suspended.
Sure, but if you actually take a close look at it as it flies, I think you can also take an understanding about its three-dimensionality. Especially at its downstroke, you see the head of it, the front of it at least. It has a mass to it.
Yeah.
It has a certain mass to it.
Yeah, it does look quite thick in the middle, doesn't it? Down its spine, if you will.
Exactly.
And it looks like it has like a lower fin of some sort.
At the front of it, yeah. Almost like a guide or
like
something.
a
rudder, yeah, could be. It's almost like it's flying by magic.
It is a bit, isn't it?
Or maybe it's full with helium.
It could be. Could be filled with a gas. A living blimp. Yeah, it was actually in the very first teaser trailer before the reveal trailer as well.
Okay.
It's actually probably the best look at that creature we get. And it looks like it's almost made of a very thin membrane with some mass to it in the center.
So they have been doing that for a very long time.
Yeah, so that's clearly one of their first polished creatures, I think. Sure. Yeah, and in fact, there's a lot of unusual flora in that original teaser trailer. There's these big balloon-like trees. And then, of course, there's this fruit that the lizard doggo eats.
Which is a berry, but it's surprising that it didn't come off. So I wonder why.
Because the lizard doggo is bad. That's why. But yeah, I wonder if that's going to be one of the plants that we are going to be able to collect and
possibly
use to tame lizard doggos, perhaps.
Which has been confirmed, hasn't it, that we can tame the lizard doggo?
I don't think they've confirmed it's tameable, but they've said it can follow you.
Okay.
But that was quite a long time ago, and I think it was just on Discord, so it could have just been trolling.
Okay, sure.
Who knows?
I think we've exhausted the issue. I just like where this is going. I like all these videos point to a good conclusion. For example, vehicles video, the heads were off. Would anybody mind that the heads was off if we played it today? No. Would they really mind? No. Yes. So it's those kind of things they're fixing, basically.
It sounds to me like what they're trying to fix before they release the alpha a few early game things, because that's what they want us to test thoroughly. Yes. So they're trying to make sure that those things are perfect. Because they're meant to be, essentially.
Exactly, yeah.
But
things like the handbrake that stuck.
Oh yeah, it was stuck on all the time. He was saying something about that. Yeah. I wonder if we'll have access to all these vehicles in the alpha.
Well, maybe the first two, the Explorer and the truck. Maybe not the truck. Then the tractor. Maybe not the truck.
Yeah.
I hope we can see the train. Oh God, I hope we see the train.
I think the train might be late game. I think you might be out of luck there. It also looks... I would say that also the train looks like the least finished of the vehicles.
Well, yeah, in a sort of polish.
Because they've been quite cagey about its features. Like, we still don't know if it can turn on junctions or not.
Jay said that we certainly didn't show everything we could have shown about the vehicles, and there are things we left out. No. So, yeah. Those things like signaling on the tracks and junctions at the tracks could have been one of those, for example. Or even how to manage the stations, the stops and starts of planned routes for the vehicles. How does a tractor stop?
Yeah, because we know that those vehicles are going to have to stop to accept cargo, but they've not shown that
Exactly.
yet. But yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and see on things like that, won't we?
I do feel good about it. I do think they have enough attention to detail to actually make a good game out of it.
Yes, I feel like if there's one thing I take away from all of their content, it's that there is so much attention to detail.
It is.
You know, just looking at the design of those vehicles, they look gorgeous and they're covered in little shapes and funnels and railings and... There's just so much detail in everything.
There is.
So I think this is going to be quite a comprehensive first stage alpha we're shown, and I don't think it's going to be one of these buggy, everything's broken alphas.
No.
And you can tell that from the fact that they keep pushing it back.
Yes. And I do want to find out what that winch does. I must find out.
Oh yeah, I was actually going to ask you about the winch, because I didn't notice that. Is it on the front of just the tractor?
Only. Nothing else has it.
Yeah, so is it decorative or does it have a function?
I don't know, but I so want it. I so want it to have a function.
I do wonder if it's just for towing other vehicles. Like, say one of your vehicles runs out of fuel or gets damaged, you could tow it back with a tractor.
But then why would it be at the front?
Yeah, that is peculiar, isn't it? Like, you would have to reverse all the way home.
This almost feels like a 4x4 winch that's at the front.
Ooh, I do have a theory with it. In one of the screenshots, there's a picture of some wreckage in a lake.
Oh, nice. Yes.
What if you were to attach your winch to it and then pull it out?
Yes, please.
That's possible.
I do think they have taken actually a page out of Subnautica.
They have said that they're inspired by Subnautica, and you can see it in some of their environments.
So you will have wreckage. What's the source of the wreckage? I don't know. Those wreckages are gonna be there, and they are gonna be the ones that you discover to scan, disassemble, or something to get new things to be done.
Yeah, the best theory, I think Tiny Pirate and I were discussing it last time, was that that's going to be one of the ways you can unlock tech.
Exactly.
Yep. But yeah, I think we'll find out in a month's time, I suppose.
Or two.
But as you say, I think that is looking very promising for Alpha, and I am looking forward to either playing or hearing more about it soon.
I know I pushed the bell button.
Smash that bell. But on a serious note, I will be following this up with some cut extras, so do subscribe if you want to see that as it comes out. I've been Mug, this has been the Satisfactory Report. Thanks very much for watching, bye bye.